The last letter from 1984. You know, I came across a story the other day that really stuck with me. It's one of those tales that makes you question what you'd do if your past suddenly reached out to you. It begins with Sarah, a mid-40s artist living alone in a small, rainy town. She's someone who has always avoided her past, a past she's never really talked about. One gloomy evening, as she's sorting through some old belongings, a letter falls out of a dusty, yellowed envelope. But here's the thing, the letter is addressed to her. And it's dated June 15, 1984. At first, Sarah thinks it's just an old note she forgot about. But when she starts reading, her hands begin to shake. The letter is from someone named Michael, a name she hasn't heard in decades. Michael was her first love, the kind of love that feels invincible when you're young, the kind that burns bright and fast. In the letter, Michael writes, "I've been keeping something from you. If you're reading this, it means I wasn't brave enough to tell you back then. But I can't leave this world without you knowing. Meet me at the place where it all began. The truth is waiting for you." Sarah is stunned. Michael had disappeared from her life suddenly in 1984. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. And now, nearly 40 years later, this letter feels like a ghost reaching out to her. Despite her fear, she decides to follow the cryptic message. The place where it all began is the old train station where they used to meet every summer, now abandoned and overgrown with vines. When she arrives, she finds a small, rusted box hidden in a crevice behind the ticket counter. Inside the box is a cassette tape and a note. The note simply says, "Play it." The answers are here. Back home, she dusts off an ancient cassette player and listens. Michael's voice comes alive, cracked and trembling. "Sarah, I wasn't who you thought I was. I worked for people who did terrible things, and I made mistakes I couldn't undo. I left to protect you. But I need you to know, you were the only good thing in my life. If I'm gone now, it's because I couldn't run anymore." The tape ends abruptly, leaving Sarah with more questions than answers. But as the days pass, she realizes the letter and tape weren't just about Michael's confession. They were his way of telling her to stop running from her past, from her own mistakes, from love itself. In the end, Sarah begins painting again, inspired by memories she once buried. The story of her past, her pain, and her rediscovery flows into her art. And for the first time, she feels free. So, I have to ask you, what would you do if your past knocked on your door, asking for closure? Would you answer? Or would you keep running?